Hello and welcome back for Game 4, where 100 Thieves take on Team Liquid. First up, selecting the blue side, we've got 100 Thieves, the newcomer to the league, sitting at 2-0.
And I have been graciously given the win condition for this team, so we'll see what I've chosen, which is to have better jungle mid synergy than Team Liquid, which is
mid.
Or jungle support, excuse
okay.
me, which is a very big ask, obviously. Olleh and Xmithie are two of the biggest catalysts for Team Liquid, so if you're going to beat them, you do actually have to outperform them. Meteos and aphromoo are known for having that kind of synergy, so I think that they actually have a decent chance of being able to do that.
All right, on the flip side, we got Team Liquid looking hot off of a 2-0 week 1 as well. What do they have to do to get the victory here, Jad?
Yeah, I'm going to say Team Liquid just needs to destroy bottom lane, and that's for a couple of reasons. Doublelift is the aggressive shot caller of this team, who does have a lot of strength throughout, but when you also look across the board at 100 Thieves and aphromoo being the main shot caller, if Doublelift and Olleh can assume control of that lane, then I don't think 100 Thieves has much of a strategy afterwards, plus TL will be rolling.
So I want to get a response from you, because if you're talking about jungle support synergy being the way that 100 Thieves wins, that kind of implies that at times aphromoo is leaving that lane and Cody Sun is left to his own devices.
Right, absolutely. I don't think this is a game where you want to go slow versus TL. I don't think you want to sit in lane. TL is great moving around the map as well, but you just need to make better early plays, get the advantage, and then keep driving it home. But like I said, I picked TL to win this game.
I was going to say, is it fair to say that even though both these teams are 2-0, people are looking at Team Liquid as a heavy favorite?
Yeah.
Right now it is. 100 Thieves had a great week 1 with a 2-0 game. It will be a spectacular opening if they win this one.
All right, let's see. It's time to hand it off to Riv and Zyrene for Champions Select of Game 4. Guys, take it away.
Thank you very much, Dash. We are ready to get into Champion Select in just a few moments, as long as the players are ready. So we're going to give you a little info on the game before all of that happens. What do you got?
Oh, boy. Both of them are 2-0. And, of course, if you were listening to the analyst desk, this has a great matchup in it. I feel like the bottom lane.
Absolutely.
Jat was talking about it. This is, for me, is kind of the wife swap bottom lane, right? It's Doublelift versus aphromoo, and there's Cody Sun versus Olleh. So they're kind of facing the last partner that they really had in that bottom side that they had before that. Of course, for Doublelift, it's, he had Biofrost in between, but I feel like his heart's always with aphromoo.
One of those bad TLC shows back in the day where you switch up families or something?
Exactly, yeah. It's a wife swap matchup here. But there was this kind of Liquid video that was released earlier today where they tried to get Doublelift and Olleh to trash talk their opponent, and they were like, well, I really like them. It's like, oh, Cody Sun's a big fan of Doublelifts, and aphromoo, he's like, well, I used to play with him. I can't really do that to him. So there's a friendly rivalry here in the bottom lane.
That's my boys. See Tom Kench and Kalista on the ban list. We'll see what kind of homework these teams have done, who they're going to take out, they just don't want to play against. It's Gangplank Ornn going out, as that becomes a bit of a flex pick for himself in the bot lane. I can see aphromoo definitely playing that. Jace on the ban list, and one more for Team Liquid as we see what 100 Thieves will have in the priority slot.
Oh, Zoe, Azir still up. Azir is kind of one that jumps out to me, but blind picking it, you can't always do that. There are things that people consider counters, but ooh, Ssumday with the Gnar as first pick. Ooh, Uni blinded it on Echo Fox, and Ssumday actually played this last week, had an amazing split push game. The scoreline really wouldn't show you the contributions that he had to 100 Thieves and them closing out that match and really having this 2-0 week.
Wonder if we'll get another Yasuo. We had one last night in Academy. A little Yasuo Gnar love.
Well, I mean, Ssumday invented that match. Ssumday was the dude who played Yasuo into Gnar.
That's why we love this. Impact takes in Ezreal for Doublelift. He can be Doublelift, keep himself in pretty good positioning, and just farm up the lane to be a nuisance late game with his mechanics. And Azir is picked up for Pobelter, easily blind picked here in this meta.
Yeah, and Pobelter, he said in an interview last week where he really just wants to prove that he's a damn good mid laner. And he's been overshadowed for so long. And I think back when I hear about like Pobelter Azir, I think back to those quadra kills. I think back to the triples that he would get, the 5-man Azir ultimate from his time back on Immortals. Really, those types of plays are what resonate with me. And Pobelter, he's right about being a bit overshadowed in the last year and a half. And we'll see if this, with the Team Liquid roster behind him, he's able to really take it to Ryu here, who's going to be playing this Ryze.
Absolutely. See Probably there behind the team of 100 Thieves, chatting it out here as he's back in the North American scene. And they do decide to go with the Kog'Maw. Not too much protection for him right now. See if Cody Sun can keep himself on the back line with a team that wants to kind of poke and possibly get back there. Impact looking to get to Vladimir.
Yeah, Vladimir for Impact in the top lane. Vladimir likes to take the Unsealed Spellbook and run teleport at the start and then swap to Ghost. So they're kind of matching 100 Thieves, who went for a kind of, I would say a standard mid laner with some good late game scaling, but then a hyper carry, late game AD carry. They're matching it with 2 carries of their own here. They have Vladimir, who scales up incredibly well.
Meteos does not get his Zac. What else? They ban Sejuani still on the board. I think that's maybe what Meteos will be able to get his hands on. Xmithie still looking for a jungler himself. 100 Thieves, 5 seconds left. The ability to pinch that support pool, and I'd take something away from Olleh. I'd say that's a good choice.
Yeah, right now, Tom Kench, Herrick, and then Braum, Alistar are the 2 that are kind of left out of those melee ones that really like the Relic Shield. If TL ban one, you ban the other. If they don't ban one, then I feel like you don't ban the other. Actually, Shen is up there too. Forgot about Shen. Shen's kind of the one that always gets me because he's that flex pick still. And we haven't seen him too much here in NA.
That Evelyn out of there for Meteos. They hit the jungle twice. They feel like they want to have a nice and safe early game on the side of TL. Nothing tricky. We'll see 100 Thieves want to pinch one more time here.
So jungle pinched from TL. They may first pick their jungler on the second phase. And then 100 Thieves taking away the Morgana here. I mean, that just leaves Olleh to play Thresh.
Not a bad thing. We'll see. We'll get that jungle pick for last. Probably. They can't do too much more to take it away. That support for Olleh will be coming in with the Alistar. And we'll see what 100 Thieves has as they round out their composition here. Not too much protect for the Kog'Maw, but they do have a good amount of damage already on this composition.
Yeah, you don't always see a last pick jungler. Usually you last pick your support if you have a better support matchup. But with 4 counting Ornn, support's banned away. They just want to go with Alistar here for the potential to dive. And the fact that it's a Kog'Maw, the Ezreal will have some pressure in that lane. So you can kind of already expect to be winning that bottom lane via AD carry. And you have them under turrets. So the potential dives will be high. Of course, there are some things left like the Braum that can protect the Kog'Maw.
Okay. Pretty decent pickup.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I think that the last picks here, Jarvan, Sejuani, jump out to me as the junglers that you would really want to take. Both teams, I feel like, could really use, especially Team Liquid, I feel like you'd want another tank in this composition, whereas 100 Thieves, I think they're a little more flexible, but they're still going to go with the tank here and have that front line for the Kog'Maw.
I think both teams kind of knew that was going to happen at the end, and both junglers were okay with the Jarvan or the Sejuani. This is how it pans out. They're going to hover this for a bit, gives them more time. Another 15 seconds is like a year in Champion Select. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, 2-0 here for both teams.
For us, it's like a year, but for them, it's like
no,
we have
it feels
enough time.
like no time.
Exactly, because you're constantly going back and forth about what you really want to pick here, what the counters are, and
it's one of the craziest things. I'm sure coaches having them on stage helps so much because, as you said, to us it feels like you have a ton of time, and you wonder, how did you make that mistake? How did this happen? You must have told yourself not to do that. But if you've ever been in that situation, holy moly, is there a lot of chaos if something doesn't go the right way and you haven't considered X.
Yeah, and right now I feel like Team Liquid, they're already at that phase in the pick ban where they're going, okay, this is how we're gonna play. And I feel like right now they're looking at 100 Thieves team and going, okay, they have a lot of magic damage. Ryze, a lot of Gnar's percent HP is magic damage. Sejuani's percent HP is magic damage. Same with Kog'Maw. So you're basically looking at a 4 magic damage heavy split team. So building some MR on your Jarvan and your Alistar, and even I would say your Azir, like potentially Abyssal Mask, is probably the way to go here so that you can sustain and have your Vladimir and Azir deal that damage and dish it out in the late game team fights, not get shredded by something like a Kog'Maw.
Well, we are about to jump onto the Rift to see who does that. Shredding. Team Liquid, or I should say 100 Thieves versus Team Liquid here. Both teams 2-0. As we start off the second week, Echo Fox has catapulted himself into first place. Who will be able to join them at that 3-0 mark here in week 2? We'll be able to find out in just a second here as 100 Thieves and Team Liquid hit the Rift.
We just had an incredibly action-packed game, and Team Liquid, they kind of emulate that same style. They've been playing fast games as well, just like Echo Fox. And 100 Thieves, on the other hand, though, their early games haven't been spectacular either. But when I talk about Cloud9 in that same sense, 100 Thieves, they had a comeback victory from being about 2,500 to 3,000 gold down at 15 minutes by getting that Baron at 20. And right now, I'm looking at this team and saying, do they have to make those shot calls, those risky plays to win the games up against a team like TL that have proven so far that they are contenders? Of course, the analyst desk said 100 Thieves are the only pretenders out of the top 4.
I don't know. Maybe they know what they're doing. It takes a long time to move 100 Thieves. They got to set up those trade routes. That's all they're doing in the early game. Maybe we're looking at it wrong. See what they can do here and take a little money out of the pockets of Team Liquid early game. If Meteos can get in the head of Xmithie, may not see too much counter jungling, but may just try to track Xmithie, the real heart and calls of an early game team here. And he's provided a lot to each team he's been on.
Yeah, Xmithie, I would say, even recently, like going back in his career and thinking about his days on Vulcan, right? You go very far back.
All the way back.
He's never really the voice of those teams. You're thinking of like Zuna was really the person. They even had a role swap at one point. So Zuna would not play AD carry. And then you keep going forward. And Xmithie really kind of emerged after his CLG days as being somebody who has a really good mind for the game after he was kind of separated from aphromoo, who has always been a dominant voice, right? Having too many cooks in the kitchen was kind of the issue there, where they didn't want to clutter comms. So Xmithie versus aphromoo in terms of the way they want to play the game, aphromoo would trump him with seniority on the roster. So Xmithie in his last year with Immortals pretty much had shot calling duties, and here on TL alongside Doublelift, it's been working out so far. It's only 3 games in.
Yep. Somebody who can kind of put things into motion by himself. Always nice to have a vocal aspect to that player as well. Xmithie has began to do that after the last few seasons, as you said. Mid lane push in here from Pobelter. Not too big of an early 2 here, and it should be a quick farm for Ryu as he sets up his caster minions, nice and right with 1 auto. Push in from Xmithie. This will be that kind of jungler's not here. Meteos is top as we expected. Just kind of figure out where they are at this time. That's gank though. Big push by Impact.
Yeah, there's already a ward down from Impact, and it looks like Impact has himself zombie ward on top of his unsealed spellbook, so he would have a ward for a very long time. And of course, Meteos hanging around here, waiting for Ssumday to potentially transform in the middle of this.
Oh, just a few more wards. He could have got Impact a couple more steps towards the minion wave, but they still go in. He calls that pool to go out. Unsealed spellbook for him as he starts with Ignite to keep a little pressure in that lane for himself. Now they know where Meteos is, even more so as Xmithie headed towards the bot side. He'll go ahead and clean up his jungle. Now he knows he can kind of hang out and not be forced to gank. Meteos getting a little curious though. Looks like he will do that kind of control top side as we saw last time. Interesting position though, as he doesn't have that pressure from Ssumday.
We'll see. You could see Impact though. I mean, Impact is known for kind of sensing what's going on the top side of the map and knowing, hey, if I was a jungler, here's where I would be, and playing it safe. Like, very famous for his tank play. And now on this Vladimir, I want to see him play this mage in the top lane. So far, he's still holding true, right? Meteos was behind him getting the Krugs, and he just backed up, waited for the wave to push out towards him. And Pobelter, flanking the lane.
Ryu taking a bit of a sore way towards the minion wave, and then back towards his turret is forced into a few more soldiers moved by Pobelter. He gains control of that lane over health. Ryu should be able to chug potions and keep himself safe here. Pobelter doing a nice job of just playing towards that vision side, gaining a little advantage.
And Pobelter's already done a fantastic job, in my opinion, because Ryu has already backed, used, teleport, and purchased. So you would say he would have an advantage in the lane. Of course, it's tier for Ryze, but it's still, he was able to take as much damage in trade, use whatever, like just heal up in the fountain, and then TP in, but still Pobelter's only used a single potion here compared to Ryu, who started with Sapphire Crystal and potions.
See back and forth with vision on the top side. Xmithie doing a nice job of keeping a bit of control here of Meteos in and out of the jungle with a few wards, scuttle control on the bot. And now once again into the jungle. It doesn't look like they'll find Meteos on this one, but still always having the vision, giving everybody a little bit more knowledge, and just on the edge of that Skyre's Bloom do they find Meteos.
Yeah, interesting that Meteos didn't go for the Tracker's Knife immediately, went for the Hunter's Potion. Upgrade to keep himself healthy in the jungle, assuming it's a more aggressive matchup of having the Jarvan. It's okay to buy the potion and sustain, but it means that he's going to be lacking that vision on that first back that you usually see from the junglers, which we just saw Xmithie go for. It's kind of now become more of a classic move where you get that trackers on your first back, run straight there. ward up the Raptors. In this bottom lane so far, we're seeing Cody Sun actually be up in CS, but the wave is pushing towards Doublelift. And these two guys, I mean, we were talking about them in 2017 summer as pretty much the #1 and 2 AD carries in the league. And you can see their stats at the bottom of the screen there, where they're pretty much #1 or 2 in all these statistics. And the CSD at 15, I believe Olleh was #1. But
Right.
really, these guys were going back and forth. Faced off in the finals of the NALCS in 2017 summer. And Cody Sun had the rookie split into a fantastic improvement alongside Olleh. And the criticism has been, is he going to be as good alongside somebody else that isn't Olleh? And lucky for him, it's aphromoo, who has so much experience in that bottom lane. So you would expect these two to once again be fighting for those #1 and 2 spots as the AD carry in terms of discussion. But right now,
Oh, ward down, but they say it doesn't matter. Oh, they're trying to get to Ssumday on the top side. They don't get close enough to stop his TP in. And now Olleh, level 5, just short of 6. Looks like he's going to go down. Three-man pulverize. A bit more damage is used to stopwatch to keep himself alive. aphromoo trying to tag him with that winner's bite. They are able to get the extra damage. Down. Meteos, first blood.
Is the race for the turret, but I got to say, top lane way ahead for TL. They may actually get that extra gold on top of it.
They have the damage.
Yeah, that's going to make up for that first blood, though.
No, you're right.
Gold.
Top turret down. Fast acting here by 100 Thieves as they realized top lane was getting a little bit of pressure. Ssumday left, and they had to activate even faster. Bot lane will go down. This means Team Liquid will kind of have that quicker route around the map, set up the vision to make the next play.
Yeah, last game was very fast and action-packed. This one, I feel like because these turrets just went down, we're going to have a little bit more macro going on here. This, from Ssumday, I really like because Vladimir has Ignite. There's no way Vladimir could match this at all. He starts Ignite for lane pressure and potential to kill. So this is an unanswered TP, a 4 versus 2 or 3 dive here if the jungler were on that side. But you can see, I like that from the juggling of aggro. Afro has it, gets stunned, stopwatch, into the other stopwatch. But the pickup and the turret. But you can see TL ahead in gold still, mostly off of, I would say, Klepto and the fact that they got the first turret gold.
See what the next move will be. Near to take down some turrets on either side of the map. Cloud Drake is up, and possibly not to get too much attention here to start things. The vision continuously moving here with Xmithie as he goes from side to side of the map. Bottom was the focus last time. It looks like they'll be going down towards that to get Blue over to Pobelter. Possibly take a little bit more control over bot lane now. Ssumday's teleport is down, and that could help in a big play.
Yeah, the fact that it's down gives Impact some more pressure, but he still has that Ignite and he's holding on to it. Yeah, you typically go through the phases of Vladimir. You start with Ignite, then you swap it out for Teleport potentially at one point for a better back, if you haven't used the Ignite in lane. But then you swap it for Ghost when you're team fighting and you just Ghost in and try to burst the AD carry in the mid laner.
Feels good as well, especially with the Spell Thief build still kind of in there for him.
Yeah, the Frostfang.
I think, yes, Frostfang, once you get it built up, you can just slow them before you even get that speed and get all of the attacks you want in.
Yeah, the Frost Queen's claim, when you completely upgrade it, don't do this at home, because home is at 8.2, so it doesn't work anymore. But Frost Queen's claim in 8.1, you can just press it, the slow will go out, and remember when you complete the quest back on 8.1, you get extra movement speed when you hit somebody with a spell. So you slow them, you ghost in, you're going to get movement speed, and then even more movement speed when you first land that spell. Because of the quest. So
feels nice.
It's great for Vladimir, who's always really wanted movement speed. One of the reasons that he couldn't really be played in top lane the last year or so was because you really wanted Ghost. Remember when Vladimir was played mid? Like, I believe like a year and a half ago? It was Ghost plus Flash.
Yep.
Now, it's like you can run that top lane, win most of your matchups because he's a ranged mage, and bully people and tanks and bruisers, and then you just transition to being basically a second mid laner.
But you can pool to speed up.
Yeah, true. But you want to go really fast. You want to go really fast.
I know.
And you don't want to have to use that to get it.
That's such a bait.
I completely understand. I mean, that was my mentality. It's like,
I can go
get in there,
faster if I
slow them
W.
down too, right?
So helpful.
But yeah, because those outer turrets are down, risk aversion, of course, goes up. You'll see people take dragons, just like we saw 100 Thieves do it. 100 Thieves have had fantastic objective control. As we see a pause come out, I'll just talk about the objective control a little bit more here because we're looking at their dragon control percentage, and they took 9 out of 10 dragons in their games and 4 out of 6 barons. So now it's 10 out of 11 and 4 out of 6. So in terms of dragon and baron control, they've only missed out on 3 out of, I believe that's now 17 that have been in their game. So 14 out of 17 objectives have gone their way.
It's pretty crazy control if you think about it, especially with the idea of which dragons they're going to be. They kind of still keep a regular pace on taking those, having always something on their plate in an objective form of the game. We see QC chatting with Doublelift as he looks at his mouse.
I'm not beating Cody Sun. No. Like, you gotta get those Johns in, you know? Get those Johns in early.
Let's see if he gets fixed up here in a quick second and back into the game. Need a mouse to play any champion, but helps even more so to have him working when you're on Ezreal flying around the map.
Yeah, could even be like, ref, I got 4-man dove and I didn't die. It's like, this is obviously an issue.
Too many stopwatch? Is that the question?
See, he does not have the stopwatch.
No, he doesn't actually. No.
Yep. He has the boots. And then he also went for, as I see it here, he went for biscuits, which people really like in the bottom lane, especially Ezreal. I mean, you get the biscuits things. The thing that people forget about is that every time you consume a biscuit, you get extra max mana, right? It increases your maximum mana. So you want to use them all. Helps you with the Mana Mune, helps you with the poke. So we'll see what happens. They're going to get, is this going to be like earlier? They're going to bring him a present? Bring him another box?
Get a whole new one.
Did I see it in the background? Hey.
Are we? There's gifts on gifts today.
Oh,
he gets a new one too. Happy birthday! Now, Arrow and Doublet. What is it with bot laners today?
Pobelter's like, what did he get? Why is he getting something?
What's this? Come to see somebody just put a sticky note under the laser of his mouse.
Oh, yeah. That's why you check the bottom, just in case, right? But gets it right. Factory new, right out of the box. We saw it. Everybody saw it. Nobody's tampered with that mouse.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I like how they were talking about freaking Ezreal, I believe, we're talking during the previous pause about getting socks. And I was like, yeah, I love getting socks for Christmas. Like, it's weird because as a kid, you're like, oh, what's this squishy? Well, no, I want the boxes. You feel the shirts, you feel the sweaters, you throw those aside, open those later, go for the boxes. But now as an adult, I'm like, oh my God, my mom got me socks. Like, she's getting a thank you. Like, thank you so much. Like, I love getting those types of things because I don't really want to buy those for myself. I don't know why.
Quick subliminal message. Now we all know what to get Zyrene for Christmas.
Exactly.
Socks. Tons of socks. Doublelift seems like he could be set up. We have a few minutes on this before we get back in.
Yeah, I'm practical, right?
Yeah, it's true. Absolutely. We're going to have to start getting ties soon so we can have more on the cast.
And I don't need a lot more in my life. I'm very happy with the way things are. Casting with Riv, you know?
There you go.
So there's no real present you could really get me.
And we still have another game to go today.
Exactly.
Spectacularly getting both of all of the 2-0 teams today, which we're about to see one of them fall from grace at this point. Somebody's go 3-0, somebody 2-1 after this matchup, and it looks like we are set. Doublelift is locked and loaded with that new mouse, and we're about to get back onto the Rift.
Boom! New mouse, new me, new year, let's go. 100 Thieves versus TL, 10 minutes in. And he was able to just swap it out, and now we're good to go. Oh, keeping the action up here. But wait, Xmithie went in. Cody Sun's right there.
Few shots. He says Cataclysm just cuz. And he goes down 2-0 as we get back into the gameplay, and they find Xmithie. Sore spot for himself.
I can't explain that.
That's all right. That's what the analyst desk is for.
Yeah, he went in, and he has vision of a lot of the bottom side jungle. So I would assume that he would understand, or at least, you know, kind of figure out or deduce that Meteos is on the bottom side, but I will take another look at it here because that was interesting.
Please do. Got your back. Rio's going to head back now. Does have the TP, but Olleh is able to thwart that for just a moment as it's all about scaling right now for Rio. As he keeps himself sustained in lane, Catalyst, Tier, and Stopwatch. We'll see what happened here as Xmithie goes down.
Yeah, he just sees the Krugs up. So he saw that there were no Raptors, there was no red buff, he's warding it up, and then jumps over. And they weren't aggroed. Could see that, they weren't aggroed, so it was like, okay, just bad timing on it.
Yeah, kind of interesting time to try as well. Olleh was pretty far away. Doublelift is pretty much where he is farming currently, so he was on his own little mission. If he could get out, more power to him, but they are all over him on the side of 100 Thieves. Now they feel like they're pushed a little too far ahead here as they get themselves to safety.
Yeah, but the Kog'Maw 1-0-1 right now is holding up quite well. Cody Sun already doing fantastically, able to keep up with the Kleptomancy in terms of gold. He's only about 60 down. So he's in a fantastic spot on this Kog'Maw. Relic Shield already upgraded to the Targons. Working on that Rage Blade, and he has 2,200 gold. This is where you can get right past that Rage Blade kind of power trough where you have the components. You're just trying to make sure you don't sit on a blasting wand for too long. He's going to shoot right past that and have the full Rage Blade.
You see the gold on the bottom half of your screen and just how much they have in their pocket. Cody Sun and Doublelift pretty much sitting on the same amount of gold, just not spent yet. You can see what Klepto is doing for Doublelift.
As it does for all Ezreals there.
As
Keeps
it
them
does
even
for all.
in matchups where they're suffering, and in matchups where they're ahead, it just helps them snowball and hit those item break points a little bit sooner.
Just a thank you very much.
First item from Pobelter is the Gnasher's Tooth, just wanting to apply pressure. I talked about the Abyssal Mask being a possibility for him to come out really early on. I would expect its second item here if he were going to buy it. I love that about Kog'Maw, actually.
The cavalry call?
Yeah, especially since you can do that while you're dead and running at somebody to explode.
Ooh, ultimate
Nice.
onto impact. Pool goes down. Gets himself some damage. I think he can get out of this one. Tides of Blood trying to get himself a bit more of that cool down.
Oh, the slow.
And then one more hit. Hyper's going to have to connect once again. Crimson Rush just about to come up. That would keep Impact alive. Ssumday just under the turn. Oh, he gets him as it comes out. Perfect timing on that stopwatch.
The top die goes over to Ssumday in the 1v1 chase down with the Gnar. Gnar against the Vladimir. He gets to build MR, not damage. So that was one where he's just tanking him out forever and eventually gets the kill under turret.
Ultimate from Meteos missed there, so they know Pobelter knows he's not going too hard with Ryu.
Man, that was a swag boomerang
That
too. I
was-
cannot get over that.
Absolutely fantastic. That was swept him right out from under his feet, too. It wasn't on the back or the forward. It was right on top of him with that timing. And that's what you're going to start seeing more of. Stopwatch has been throwing people off, but again, it's starting to become more known. Ssumday and Gnar just begins right away.
Well, the timing on Ssumday's abilities there, pretty much perfection. As soon as the pool was over, able to just throw him into the wall, and then right here with the boomerang over the shoulder. Damn.
Killed the stopwatch with the stopwatch. That's how you got to do it. Fight fire with fires, Irene. Ssumday's got the answer. He's getting himself pretty big. Phage, Spirit Visage, and the Kindle Gem. Kind of all that utility he needs to keep spamming out the boomerang and keep healthy against this Vladimir.
And he's keeping healthy against the Vladimir. And it's really keeping 100 Thieves equal in terms of tempo, because we talked about the scaling of the Vladimir and the Azir are things you really have to watch out for on TL's side. And the gold is even despite 3 kills going over to 100 Thieves. And like 100 Thieves in their games, like I said before, they haven't really been just absolutely destroying or crushing their opponents, right? TL, on the other hand, have had some fantastic early games, like against TSM, but they did struggle a bit against Optic. But 100 Thieves have had comeback victories, and really some of the, only really the big comebacks I can think of so far in the NALCS was that early one where aphromoo had called for Baron and then they stopped the Baron steal. Longest game that we had before today was that 100 Thieves one. Now they're really up there. I still think that one's a little bit longer, but 100 Thieves already up 3-0, but like I said, the gold is even.
This is what you want to see against Team Liquid as well. A team you need to kind of put on the back foot at the beginning of the game. They're obviously going to have good team fighting in late game. They're going to have good positioning, or they're just going to be able to have Xmithie and the rest of the team work you around the map. Not a huge split push from Vladimir, but still enough to put the fights in their favor. So for 100 Thieves to start off, like you said, at that 3-0, see what they can pressure if they feel like they're in the advantage. Not a great positioning here for Ryu. He gets a nice stopwatch and Realm Warp out, but that also gives a little control here to Team Liquid.
Yep, gets out, uses the stopwatch. We'll have to upgrade that to Zhonya's shortly to continue to do those types of moves. But they do get the stopwatch right before they want to go for this dragon. This is a Cloud Drake, so I don't really expect 100 Thieves to try and fight over it. But that does hurt their dragon control stat.
It's true. Where are their priorities, Irene?
not dying and sectioning off top lane. Is what I would say.
What's the better stat? 3-0 or Dragon stat?
3-0.
I guess if you're a Dragon trainer, it's Dragon. But they're not Dragon trainers. They are stat aficionados for the W. And right now, 100 Thieves is trying to put another win condition under their belt with Rift Herald. And it doesn't look like they'll even be contested on this. Team Liquid's fine to kind of get impact a little bit more in the late game. Keep Pobelter going at his 200 CS Nashor's 2 Azir. And kind of let these things fall to the wayside for 100 Thieves.
Yeah, and I like this because they went to top lane, they pushed Vladimir out, who doesn't really have great wave clear. He has to get in melee-ish range to actually hit everything because the way the minions line up, you got to get in between the waves to get them with your Tides of Blood. So they get that top turret, now 2-to-1 in turrets, and they have Rift Herald, which they can put mid, and it would almost kill that middle turret. So I wonder when they're going to start using that here from Meteos, who has it.
Doublelift takes down bot turret, which means he can help with that mid protection now.
The appropriate counter, and it's a good counter too.
Yeah.
And oh, is that Meteos? Yeah, that is Meteos with the Relic Shield into Targon's brace on the jungler. I feel like he's the only person I've seen do this in the NALCS so far. And he did it twice, and this is his third time, I believe, doing it. Where he'll upgrade into face the, there it is,
Done.
face the mountain, instead of going for the Eye of the Equinox. Just to have that shield, and I feel like he's just...
A little cooldown.
I guess it's like, I have that instinct as a jungler to tax my laners. This is so you both actually are benefit. It's good for me to tax you.
So you're saying he's a philanthropist? Ooh. In a way.
Yeah, yeah. He's helping out his laner, so you can't reach
just
that
mid-game
CS.
decides to give away a bit of money, but also get some for himself. It's nice. Good guy Meteos, giving back to the team.
Ooh, I was like, Ryu, using one of FLICKR's skins.
Bot lane being held up by Impact. He still has teleport up. Ssumday as well. They are trying to find Ssumday. Where are you on the map?
He's in the mid lane.
Oh, there he is.
Well,
Just hiding under the coins.
Yeah, last place you would expect him to be, really.
Yeah, exactly. Side's not there. They give that up to Ryu. Teleport, party portal are his movements around the map. And things here for 100 Thieves have kind of taken a bit of a slower pace in the last few minutes. Rift Herald still deciding where to be used in the hands of Meteos.
And once again, 2,000 gold here for Cody Sun. This guy kind of like, he just starts trying to make bank. He's just getting all this gold, burns a hole in his pocket, and then eventually backs and spends it all. But you can see he's down 1,000 gold now behind Doublelift, who got some more Kleptomancy procs and also got that solo turret gold from the bottom side.
Good pressure, good hold. With Cody Sun gone, this may be a turret going down for Liquid, but they have a while to wait for the minions. Doublelift peels off. He'll take down Red. Things are actually really starting to slow down without anything to fight for on the map. Got Baron coming up in 5 seconds, but the strength right now would probably pull everybody into a fight, not that 50-50. Zanya's finished up for Ryu. A little more playmaking potential coming out of that side. They are just holding steady for now. Haunting guys as well coming out for Pobelter. It's interesting to see all these core items come out already without the fights happening, without a big influx of gold. Everybody's kind of working for themselves at the moment.
Yeah, and we've talked a bit about like TL's team competition wanting to play for that late game, and they definitely do. I just checked their runes, and 2 of them have Gathering Storm, both Doublelift and Pobelter. And they have, of course, the Azir and the Vladimir. So the fact that TL are keeping this even in terms of gold is actually beneficial for them, because I personally do favor their scaling here in this game with both those runes and the champions of choice. I know they are against the Kog'Maw, but Vladimir and Azir together are a very deadly combo.
Just calling the bluff. Who could scale better?
Yeah, don't worry, guys. We all scale.
We have scaling on our scaling.
Of course, the enemy has to do. Zonya's completed for Ryu, so he's going to feel better about being in those side lanes. Has the teleport still. Trying to think if he would even want cleanse. Probably not. There isn't much he would be able to cleanse here. Kind of like Alistar stun, Alistar headbutt pull, and flash after cleansing. Actually, no, that doesn't really work. Gotta QSS it. Gotta QSS.
Something. Ryu stepping forward, looking to put some damage onto Doublelift, who's low on mana there. They're looking to get this pressure onto the turret with a nice bite. Olleh there, almost having to throw down the ultimate. They forced that out. I think that all started from Doublelift stepping a bit too far forward without the resources to continue the fight. And 100 Thieves say, let's attack.
Yeah, not much mana on Doublelift. He's gonna keep going going for some poke here. Pobelter with that blue buff will try to wave clear. 100 Thieves, like we saw in Champions, like so much tankiness to frontline for Cody Sun's Kog'Maw. Pretty much the champion that I've come to know him for in the last year. It's just this late game Kog'Maw that he likes to play.
Olleh coming out of base just short of the turret going down, so no initiation. Nice job to clear out the ward as well. Keep 100 Thieves from figuring out where Team Liquid is dispersing into the jungle. Once you lose a turret, good place to put a ward. That's the rule of thumb. You see the 3-0 still holding true here for 100 Thieves as they start to split these lanes. They're keeping themselves quite safe in their efforts to even get a little bit more out of the game. So it's hard for TL to get the fights, but as you said before, also kind of helping TL in their efforts to scale.
And the thing I'm looking at for TL here is as they scale, what's their durability going to look like in terms of their tankiness? Because 100 Thieves have the Sejuani, they have the Braum, and this Gnar is also going to purchase a lot of HP. And then Ryze actually does have a lot of durability with buying armor and MR in his build as well as HP. So it's going to be hard to take him down, but look at this.
Oh, Xmithie going in for the quick 1-2 after trying to clear a ward. Concussive blows comes through on the Winter's Bite, and they lose their jungler on the side of Team Liquid.
Xmithie being caught out here, and TL are trying to play a slower game, so the jungler does have to take risks where you face check stuff, because they could be doing Baron, they could be in this area, and even like he did in the bottom side of the map, got caught out. These are ones that are a little bit more egregious than just the normal face check to see if there's actually something there, because you don't want any of your scalers really doing that. It's kind of your job to do so, especially as somebody who has a bit of an escape in their kit. So he'll probably rack up more deaths.
Playing within small windows too, Olleh had just about a sliver to get back his ultimate there on cooldown, so they couldn't even really help Xmithie if they wanted to. 100 Thieves getting these plays in their favor very nicely, and then seeing a few more openings along with it.
Yeah, and we're seeing this actually become a gold lead now, even for so long, and then the Klepto would sometimes keep them up on TL's side, but now we're seeing that middle turret that was unanswered by TL due to the Rift Herald from 100 Thieves. Kind of get them this gold lead and then another kill falling their way. So, Team Liquid, they would want to get on the board in terms of kills, but they're still waiting. And like I said, the durability is something that just kind of worries me for the TL lineup going into these team fights later, because it seems like probably one of the more aggressive builds you can go for with the double magic penetration and attack speed build from Pobelter, instead of something like the Abyssal Mask for durability. And then on the top side, the Frost Queen's Claim Rush will happen normally from Vladimir, but if team fights happen in the next few minutes and they're forced by 100 Thieves, I would say probably be pretty bad for TL if things were to kind of go the way that you would expect them to based on the compositions. So you gotta throw some curveballs or avoid fights and make sure that 100 Thieves can't start them or really get objectives.
100 Thieves gets that fight you're talking about. It basically just catapults this Kog'Maw team to take down turrets immediately, as well as having that Gnar on the side lane. Already have quite a bit of control that Team Liquid kind of has to recoup, come back from. If they do win a fight, they may be able to go for Baron, but definitely have to worry about a few of these side lanes as they start to do a little bit of ward control here to start off, cleaning up those fundamentals in the mid lane so they can make their own engage. See the teleport coming in from Ryu. He is back into lane to help the team.
Yeah, just to make sure that he's still on the map, ready to go. Purchased himself the Seraph's Embrace. Ooh. Oh, and right now the gold, in terms of where it is, most of it I would say is on Meteos in terms of an advantage for 100 Thieves. Otherwise, they're slightly behind mids. 1,000 gold down to 80 carry, and aphromoo.
Unbreakable up. Whose is better? That's going to be as well. Olleh having to use his ultimate. It goes down along with him. The Ignite is used, and aphromoo gets himself out alive. Meteos over the wall as they have to realize Doublelift has no way to take damage right now. He's firing from over the wall, and 100 Thieves now reassess the fight, and they look at where they can go. It's just to clear out mid lane. A nice job by both teams. 100 Thieves coming up with that kill on Olleh.
Yeah, just this range advantage here for TL. Once the fight got away from them, they're able to keep 100 Thieves at arm's distance with all those cooldowns down. And Olleh does drop pretty quickly. He's not at that level 11 yet, so doesn't have the rank 2 ultimate. Still running around, reducing the damage by only 55% for now.
aphromoo didn't even use exhaust, getting in there as well. Had kind of a tanky target in his face, so they hold that for next fight. Olleh's Ignite should come up pretty fast. Ssumday and Pobelter toe-to-toe. Ooh, that was hyper hits. Knocks him back. Ooh, flies forward, and Pobelter fast finger flashes out of that Gnar ultimate. With the help of Xmithie and team, they take down Ssumday.
200 IQ for the mid laner of TL there. Saw that one coming, flashes away, thinking Ssumday's gonna flash for this one too. After the wall, saying, I know that this is what he wants.
Gotta be careful for his play now. Emperor's dividing a few things used, but having Ssumday down gives Team Liquid a bit of breathing room. Here that is again.
Yeah, has those soldiers down, hits him back, sees it coming, flashes immediately afterwards, and Xmithie is there to back up Pobelter, and that gets them on the board.
Ssumday as well, kind of pushing himself to go hard there. Won't have those flashes to present himself in the next fight. Hopefully he'll be able to hop to the area he wants to engage in. And a much different pacing from game 1 to game 2 here, as both teams really sizing each other up. I feel like Team Liquid has a potential, though, to explode in these fights. But it's the same thing that can be said for 100 Thieves here, with the way they're keeping the weights pushed up. Team Liquid has a lot on their plate before they can take any of those fights.
Cody Sun just pretty much full purchase the Runaan's Hurricane, backed with the 2,600 gold. He definitely does that a lot, where he just holds a lot of gold, doesn't back for bits and pieces. Spends it all in one place.
It needs to be kind of a return on investment room. If you hold your gold, you get a little bit more over time.
And just looking at that top lane, Impact is only level 14 to Ryu up against him level 17. This, you don't need to be a mathematician to understand that difference. Impact about to be 15, but Ryu,
ooh,
yeah,
absolutely ridiculous. You can see Impact not even want to turn around for that transfusion damage to get his health back. He's forced to back all the way to the fountain, and now Ryu can start that push into the side lane. Impact not having the time he wants to scale up against the power of Ryze there, and the rest of 100 Thieves keep themselves in mid to keep the pressure on. What is kind of Team Liquid's next move? They're okay, obviously, to get kind of pushed up to their base, but when do they pull the trigger to get back?
Yeah, they're going to have to do it when they feel like they're comfortable with all their items and levels. Vladimir just hitting 15, and Ryu still 17 and still up right now in terms of gold. Even if you were just comparing like this split push, if you were saying that Vladimir is, you know, quote-unquote, for all intents and purposes, a mid laner, he's gotten Flame Horizoned right now, right? Ryu has 100 more CS than he does. So in that matchup, this mano-y-mano, you're definitely going to take a beating, and you're trying to now find a way to get this Vladimir to get a little bit more items for those team fights. But it feels like right now, the Infernal Drake, the first juicy Drake, there's been 3 clouds, man. Everybody's trying to get over here for this, and I feel like both teams are going to kind of want this fight.
Ssumday.
He doesn't have TP. He doesn't have TP.
Waltzing down over the wall. Oh, Meteos in the bad spot, but has flash to get out, and TL does not want the resulting fight coming from that, but they do put a little bit more power behind them as we get into this matchup.
Yeah, Ssumday was pushing the top wave, didn't have teleport to go join, so he had to run down, and that kind of dissuaded 100 Thieves from having a fight, but it still didn't dissuade Meteos from jumping in. Ryu did have his back, though, on the right side, so we're still seeing a 1-3-1 from 100 Thieves. Whereas TL, now with that Infernal Drake, definitely helps their scaling and makes those item purchases that they've been going for, the very aggressive ones, all that much more worth it.
So we see 100 Thieves coming in this season. Analyst that's kind of saying Pretenders recently. What have they been doing right in their games? But obviously this game that kind of is pushing them forward, is giving this team that advantage.
I think their shot calling has actually been pretty good. Their objective control, like I had said, that's not just something where it's like, oh, a dragon is handed to us, right? It's more, we're finding these situations, even when behind, to find dragons and set it up. Because those are plays that you have to think of 2 minutes in advance, sometimes even 3 because of ward duration, and figure out, all right, we're going to have control of this area, then we're going to trade it for this control, and then we're going to swap it back, and that's like over the course of 3 minutes. So now we're seeing them push bottom lane, pull people here, try to win this 1v1, and that's going to free them up on the top side of the map as they just swept Baron control, put down some control wards. So from a macro perspective, they feel like they can control the mid lane and the side lanes now as 100 Thieves and just full court press TL.
And it's kind of crazy to think about because coming into this season, it was who is going to be that team to beat TL? You have Doublelift and Olleh in the bot lane. Probably one of the strongest bot lanes you have. Pobelter with that team, as we said, around him in mid, and the shot calling of Xmithie.
Well, I would say
Impact.
Some people would have said TSM, but TL, right, in game 1 of the season, said, no, that's not going to happen. So like you said, they're out there running rampant, I guess. But so are Echo Fox, and winner of this does join them in the 3-0 club.
100 Thieves making a mark here in the early weeks of the NALCS. Team Liquid takes down mid as Thieves were getting themselves set up around the map, and Ryu still decides to push that bot lane turret and pulls one back for his team. That's an inhibitor for that turret, though.
Well, we'll see if it actually goes down. They're trying to start this up with Xmithie tanking and then Pobelter on Azir, but Ssumday is right over the wall. He's about to change back.
Teleport in from Impact. He's going to be right in the back of the pit. Damage onto actually a lot of Team Liquid members from the Baron. Locked to the Iron Slurry, forced to be used right there. There is a Nexus turret being attacked by Ryu right now as they 4v5. Team Liquid in front of the Baron pit. aphromoo goes down before he gets the heal. Pobelter on the backside. The soldiers could pull the fight back into Liquid's favor. As the rest of the team keeps Doublelift alive as he keeps himself on the outskirts of the fight. Ryu is doing everything he can to the next
not gonna
turret
get it.
and might eventually get it. Has to back off. The minion wave coming in, but they're going to stay for Baron. Nexus turret for Baron, and then they're going to go ahead and back. 100
But Meteos
overstay. If Meteos can steal this, it would be absolutely huge. It would thwart everything they've tried, but Baron goes down too quick for Team Liquid after the fight.
Ryu just kind of hell-bent on split pushing there. He has teleport. He could join them, but Impact TPs away, makes the better overall team play. And I was talking about 100 Thieves in their macro game and objective control. That looked like one where they were saying, don't fight, don't get caught, and that's going to allow us to get free inhib. Because if you just keep poking and stopping them from actually taking it, it should be an objective win instead of an objective exchange.
That was a crazy initial amount of damage we saw coming from that 4v5, but we saw the long fight totally favor the Azir soldiers and the rest of Team Liquid.
Yeah, Pobelter, I think, is just massive here because he catches Cody Sun. Ssumday transformed, and now it's time to fight. Pobelter is now the primary engage. After the Sejuani ultimate and the Braum ultimate all go out, Pobelter goes in, slides it, flashes, delivers Cody, who uses the Hourglass, and I believe had flashed at that point.
And then just auto Doublelift. Great positioning. Gets himself back healed up with a bit of that dangerous and summoner heal. And now we're back into the middle of the rift. Wards all the way down the right side. If Team Liquid needs to present themselves or give assistance to Doublelift, he will be farming it out. And the team's objective is now find a pick, but make sure not to get picked.
Yeah, but right now, you're going to have this bottom lane pushing out in favor of TL. And Doublelift has just been pushing against this inhibitor wave. And now, they're trading sides of the map. And it's actually just going to be TL getting this bottom turret for that top turret. But now, like I said, another just fast push here.
Ooh.
400 Thieves. They're all just grouped up here. Doublelift. Oh my God, is he Ryu now? I mean, change the situation.
It is a 4-second back. If he needs to get here, he has the Baron on him so they can keep themselves in a good position. And he keeps pushing. The team's able to hold it off. The soldiers there. It looks like they'll actually be able to trade that inhibitor turret that Ryu got on the bot side. Realm Warp is up if he actually needs to put himself in a position that would stop Doublelift. But Doublelift has a lot of minions to fight around. And it looks like Ryu may not try to take that fight right away. Gets the Blade of the Rune King down. Seraph's Embrace along with some extra shields. Doublelift low. Realm Warp into his exit path as he shifts over the wall to
Team is
safety.
coming from above. 100 Thieves.
This is the cavalry. Cody Sun now into Doublelift. Overstays his welcome. But how much can they work without too many pushed waves?
That teleport from Ryu put Doublelift in a situation where the team is collapsing and there's really no way out of that. He would have to press into the base and kind of give him the runaround.
Right.
But now, you have to watch out because Doublelift is dead for 42 seconds. Elder Dragon is up in 5.
Oh, but Xmithie says we'll use this 42 seconds to turn 100 Thieves on their head. Cody Sun goes down to Cathian Surprise. Going to do a bit of damage, but not enough. You can see Team Liquid still ready and sure to keep the engage going. Soldiers forward along with Xmithie on the front line. Ryu turns the rest of TL backwards as he enters the fight from the right side of Raptors. And Gold basically even after all of this back and forth. 7-5, 36 minutes in. TL finally back up.
That was so well played from Xmithie. He knew that Ryu was back in the base and now just coming through and just leaps right onto Cody Sun, who's playing frontline right now. This isn't a protect the Kog'Maw with all those shields. And then you see Pobelter and Impact come in from the side. And right there, you just know where to aim your abilities. Right inside the pit. Just hit everybody and Cody Sun gets obliterated. And he was the only carry there because, like I said, the Ryze was still back in base.
Right.
So in these duo threat compositions versus the triple threat from TL, kill one and you're really good to go, but Meteos is going to look to steal this.
Could be the in and the out. There's a lot of damage for them to focus. A nice Emperor's Divide would have bounced Meteos back, and Team Liquid ensure themselves the Elder Drake for a fight to come.
Stop backs, is this a stop back call?
Ultimates are there if they really need to go hard on this. You just throw it into the entire team and allow Ryu to do quite a bit of damage. This guy now, 2 inhibitor turrets to his name in his split push prowess this game. But the team is starting to lose a bit of ground as that happens. Here a catch though on Xmithie as they take down the middle second tier. Now they're in the base along with all 5 at 37.5 minutes, and Team Liquid need to figure out a way to stop this.
That's huge because the bottom lane also has minions on that inhibitor, and so they are pressing all 3 lanes. Like I said before, it's a full court press for 100 Thieves.
And on to the Nexus turret. Ryu Deja Vu just to the top side of the map, pulling Pobelter back and forth. Being such a nuisance on that top side is 100 Thieves in the mid lane. Keep calling the pressure back to themselves. Beautifully done there in a quick split push by 100 Thieves.
And this is where you have to play a dance because you're the team that has one of those inhibitors down from the other team. So 100 Thieves right now are saying, we want to be able to threaten these inhibitors, but they have Elder Dragons, so you don't want a team fight.
Very true.
So you have to kind of divide your team up in little bits and pieces and skirmishes, or little crews, I guess, 2 people, 3 people, and just back up as soon as you see one of your team members be answered. And then push if you're the ones who aren't being answered. And now Cody, he's almost at that point where he has 5 or completed items and looking at that full build. Wonder if he does sell the Relic. I would assume that he sells the Targons. Wouldn't need the shield. Frozen Mallet, I guess, might be good in that scenario. He does have the Essence Reaver build.
Yeah.
Essence Reaver for the cooldown reduction, and you have the Runeance Hurricane for the crit to give you the 30%, because Kog'Maw becomes all about W uptime. So that Bioarcane Barrage, having that on is incredibly important. But Cody Sun does have some levels to go. Doublelift already level 18 after being able to get all those waves that were pushed into him on the bottom side. Having solo experience means a lot.
Let's see where they decide to go here. Vision is on the top side for Ssumday. Doesn't have a teleport, so it looks like he'll push the wave as much as possible and then buddy-buddy with the rest of the team. Keeps his bar at just about 80%, finding minions, finding things where he can instantly be useful for the team. And here he'll keep that charged up. Might just actually go into Gnar form because of this wave.
Yeah, 30 seconds on the Baron, so I don't feel like you hold it for 30 seconds.
In and out, yeah.
Oh, wow. Interesting, because now they're actually still applying pressure. There's 2,600 gold on Cody Sun right now. There's 1,700 on Ssumday. And you'd really like to get a back in before a Baron fight. But now finding a back is going to be difficult for 100 Thieves. Not that difficult for TL because their base has already been pushed in, so isn't that much of a distance to travel for them versus pushing minion waves out.
Ghost and Flash for impact. Pobelter cleanse.
Ryu versus Doublelift round 2.
Still up.
Fight!
Oh, the Ghost is down. Back and forth. Sweet footwork from both players. And looks like Doublelift wants himself inside the base for a bit of safety. Clean up this wave, and he gets some help from Impact.
Well,
we'll see how the team plays this. Remember, no teleports are up. Ryu can get himself with a warp over to a better position, and the team can try for Baron.
This is actually so difficult to navigate. You get hit by one thing, whether it's the root or the slow, you're going to end up taking even more damage and possibly have to forfeit the duel. But Ryu is slowly finding ways to deal damage to this inhibitor.
I do like the ward that's still... Oh, my word, Doublelift down to half as Ryu throws out just a few spells. He says, bye-bye, we have Realm Warp up. Xmithie just on the other side of the wall. There's not too much that can stop a jungler from smiting. Crowd control behind Baron Pit is definitely one of them, though. And it does not look like they want to go down for this Baron. They say we need to be able to hold it off. And 100 Thieves keep putting themselves in great positions.
And Ryu, that was the whole idea, is he says, I can 1v1 Doublelift, that's fine. He's just waiting and making sure they don't 2v1 him, and Impact came up, and that was the cue right there immediately. Get out, don't even risk it. Ryu uses the ultimate, doesn't have to use the Zhonya's because he knows there's no CC, so he just gets away, and the rest of his team is able to take that Baron as Ssumday keeps him out of the pit. And that's the thing too, aphromoo, we heard his calls last week. on, hey, keep him out of the pit. This is what the Cho'Gath is going to do. Stop the feast.
Yep.
They're probably communicating about how to make sure Xmithie does not get anywhere close, and so you don't have that 50-50. You assign the job. You don't say, somebody do this. You're like, hey, you're doing this, and Ssumday stepped up that time.
Always make sure it happens. Tell 2 people about it, and then it'll get done. That's what they had behind the pit, trying to stop Xmithie. Ssumday and Meteos giving him the business, and now they try for the bottom side of the map. Ryu once again pushing in, hitting 500 CS on the mid laners now as we reach 42.5 minutes into the game. Meteos toe-to-toe with Xmithie for a bit, but the team cannot find an engage as it puts them too far outside the base. Top wave pushing in right now. TL has a lot on their plate.
Yeah, no turrets to defend any of these inhibitors, and all the inhibitors are up and vulnerable. With that Baron wave coming in, just trying to get that chip damage. You can see Ryu sticking by a cannon minion. And now TL, they need to find a way to just swiftly catch somebody. But if you're 100 Thieves, you have to have a counter already set up. You can see Ssumday goes to the top side. If you engage 4v3 mid, they better win that fight if they're TL, because you're going to lose your side inhibitors.
Oh my word.
TL have so many cards right now that they can play, and so many advantages.
When you're able to delete that kind of health bar, absolutely ridiculous. Impact has to go back. That means Ryu has bottom lane all to himself now as he pushes in the wave. Here they come with Baron up minions from every lane as it's Ssumday on the top side on that Gnar, and they are just whittling down TL. 100 Thieves has been doing a great job at not wanting too much in these situations and keeping themselves in an advantage in these situations.
Yeah, both Impact and Pobelter, you're talking about how they're getting chunked. They both only have 39 magic resistance, and the whole team, like I said, is primarily magic damage, save for some of the Gnar, and that's really about it. There is some crit on Cody Sun, which will be physical, but his damage palette is definitely more magic-based. So if you actually have people reach you from 100 Thieves onto TL, they're going to be in for a hurt.
Righteous Glory goes down, slows down the tankiest members of the team, but does not allow the carries to get on anybody else in the team. Cody Sun standing tall right in the back there with Meteos on him. And all of Team Liquid is hugging this Nexus turret to keep it alive right now, trying to keep the minions off it. But all of 100 Thieves is about to put pressure on the TL Nexus.
They're looking for that loot. Right now, this looks like the Alamo for TL. One turret, all huddled around it, trying to keep it alive, defend from all of these minions and all of these people. Ryu's gonna get out, though. They defend one side, gotta run to the other.
That's a bit of breathing room, though. You gotta consider those aren't Ocean Drakes, those are Wind Drakes. Does Ryu stay? No, he does not. He gets back, and they have to wait. So they buy themselves some time. Very nicely done by Team Liquid. It looks pretty dire, and it is, but they are holding on.
Yeah, Baron buff about to wear off as it ticks down, and those are the last super minions that are gonna have that on them right here. The TL hold, but it's going to come down to that team fight. TL, they basically drafted the composition for team fighting, and they have to kind of put their money where their mouth is and get through these tanks and not take hits. They're playing pretty much around their skill on both Impact and Pobelter to not get caught at all. And so it's on Meteos, Ssumday, and Ryu to really kind of catch somebody out. You can throw aphromoo in that bunch too. You have to think about so many players on the 100 Thieves side that can make a play.
And if there's any moment, I mean, doesn't really help to teleport inside your own base, but there are a few wards that if 100 Thieves stay too long, take a bit too much damage, their exit is cut off. Team Liquid just has to find a way to make that happen. It's Olleh that gets stunned up first. So Doublelift wasn't actually used on the best target. Doublelift goes down immediately. 64 seconds on the members to come back up. The Nexus turret now down to about 30%. As 100 Thieves tiptoes back and forth. Initiation comes in. Team Liquid going for broke as they try to save the Nexus. Emperor's Divide push back a few members of 100 Thieves, but the health bars are not staying long in this world for Team Liquid. They go down along with the bars. 100 Thieves will be at the top of the standings. 3-0 to start off week 2 of the NALCS.
Pretenders? I think not. 100 Thieves played that game very cleanly, won the early game, kept it even, and then even played the late game against this late game composition from Team Liquid. People asking if they're the real deal, and that match is going to speak worlds about their answer.
Absolutely. Coming up very strong in this. I think one very big thing to note within this 100 Thieves victory is that they, I've said it before, they continuously did what they needed to do. Never overextending, never... it looked like Ryu was overextending a lot, actually.
But they smart about it.
They very, very smart. They played that with confidence, and even if he were to go down, they wouldn't lose more than Ryu, and he'd be back up.
Okay, he'd be able to get pretty much his objective done. Both Ryu and Meteos deathless in that game. Ryu pretty much dancing with death the whole time.
Yeah.
But it was all a ruse, able to pull people towards him and then play the macro game. And 100 Thieves looked like they really knew how to play as a team of veterans there and throw in Cody Sun, who's in his sophomore year. And they looked pretty polished there, pulling TL across the map.
A big game of Ring Around the Rosie the whole entire time with the map as well. Trying to figure out what to do, where to go, and always being where Team Liquid wasn't for that majority of a wave push. And always called them too much, or always called them back for too long to recoup.
Yeah, and this is interesting from TL because from 100 Thieves, because we're not seeing them really be an early game explosive team, right? It's coming down to those late game team fights around Cody Sun a lot of the times to try and deliver the damage. It's what happened in their matchup up against CLG, and it happened again here. So we're seeing their late game macro shot calling and team fighting be really how they're pulling teams apart as opposed to being aggressive, throwing themselves at the enemy like we see a lot of new teams that are formed try to do.
I think it's a great way to put it too. And they even, in the ban phase, banned out that Kench, what would protect the Kog'Maw, things that they had, and still felt confidence to pick it because of that team fight prowess, because of how strong they feel protecting him, or even just having the lead in a fight, and he can kind of do his own thing.
Yeah, I think Cody Sun, highest co-participation in the game for himself on that Kog'Maw. Keeping him safe with the Tahm Kench would have been nice, but I feel like they were saying, all right, we're just going to play Cody Sun's Kog'Maw pretty much no matter what, and we're going to be able to take it to those late games where they feel very confident in their fighting abilities.
Well, great job by 100 Thieves in their victory, and right now we're going to send it on to Avli May and the 100 Thieves bot laner.
Thanks, guys. I am here with Cody Sun, and congratulations on that win. With that win, not only does 100 Thieves remain undefeated, but you also take a loss off of Team Liquid, and you beat 3 of your former teammates in the process. What does this victory mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, beating TL today, it definitely meant a lot to me because I was supposed to start on that roster until they eventually got Doublelift. But, I really like my teammates on 100 Thieves, and, I don't regret joining this team or anything. I played with Olleh for a year, so I know what he's going to play, and I knew he was going to just pick Alistar and try to kill me the whole game. So I just played really safe, and I just watched out for that, and I think aphromoo did a really great job in protecting me.
Well, congratulations on that. And can you tell me a little bit about that bot lane matchup with you and Afro versus Doublelift and Olleh?
Yeah, I mean, since I played with Olleh for so long, I know what he's going to do, and he's just going to try to kill you in lane, and if that doesn't work out, he's just going to go middle. So I always called out every roam that he went mid, and I don't think he really got off any good roams this game, which, yeah, I think that's what it takes to beat him.
Well, you accomplished this victory right here. Were there any personal goals that you set for yourself throughout the split?
Yeah, I mean, this split, or every split that I play in, I always try to be the best that I can be. And I think, coming into last year, I was just a rookie. And in that year, I've definitely learned a lot as a player and as a person. And going into Worlds, playing against all the really good Worlds players, I think this year is my year. And I think I'm going to try to do my best for 100 Thieves and try to make our fans proud.
Well, you play... Round of applause for you. You play Cloud9 tomorrow. What do you think of that team so far?
I think Cloud9 is really strong. They pulled out the double spellbook bot lane, which personally I'm not that big of a fan of. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Thank you so much for this interview. Hopefully this year is your year. And to wrap up this game, let's hear from our analysts at the desk.
Thank you very much, Avli. In the face of a very tough week for 100 Thieves, TL today, C9 tomorrow, they grabbed the victory, moved to 3-0. Zyrene said it. Pretenders, I think not. They were the one team that we classified at the beginning of the day as a pretender when it comes to that race for first place. But picking up the third win, what does that do to change your opinions of this squad?
more so than picking up the third win, to me, it was how they picked up the third win. Because they were a 2-0 team with a 1-3-1 composition against Optic that took 60 minutes to end the game. But here, Ryu in his split push and the way Ssumday played Gnar, it really showed the difference between 100 Thieves with 2 weeks of practice and 100 Thieves with 3 weeks of practice, and now makes you wonder how high their ceiling is, because they made a huge jump, in my opinion, from last game to this game.
Right, especially after, okay, you beat CLG, but they haven't looked very impressive. Optic, they've had some long games, so the strength of opponents wasn't quite there, and they didn't look dominating in any of them. So I think that's why people were hesitant. But now, taking down what was universally seen as the top team, I think it's time to start considering them contenders.
All right, let's dive into the matchup itself. We had laid out some win conditions for each of these teams. I'm looking at you first, Mark, because it was about that jungle support synergy for 100 Thieves to dismantle Team Liquid. Do you think they executed?
Yeah, I think for the most part they did. It doesn't mean necessarily that you have to get on the map and influence other lanes. You can influence your own lane. And the first thing that they did that was really of note this game was that dive that they got off in the bot lane, which really stilted how the map plays off, because there's no teleport in the Vlad to match. So it's forcing Team Liquid to kind of just eat this dive, can't do anything about it, and it starts putting resources onto your Kog'Maw.
Yeah, Olleh does as much as he can to avoid this dive for as long as possible, but even after a really good stall session, it does get them first turret in the top lane, but that's not really where Team Liquid wanted their goal. My win condition for Team Liquid was dominate bottom lane. They weren't even close to that. They never got the ganks off bottom lane. They were never able to combo with Alistar, and Olleh was actually, as Cody Sun mentioned in the interview, roaming mid to try and impact the rest of the map, which was mostly leaving Doublelift to try and match side lane farm.
And you have to kind of look at impact a little bit here, because he got the Vladimir. They get that solo first blood gold in the top side. I think it's actually split between Jarvan, but he is now the strongest member on the team in a good matchup and should start pressuring that Gnar more. But after that point, Gnar actually just started catching up and got to the point where he legitimately solo killed the Vladimir. So,
I mean, yeah, tip of the hat to Ssumday in his play for that 1v1, having to have conceded that turret so early on. But this game extended still to some degree, and there was a fair amount of back and forth. I want to take a look at one very crucial fight. 33 minutes into the game, Team Liquid actually going to be the winner of this fight, 3-0 around the Baron.
And in my opinion, this is why the game extended, because Team Liquid tried a very difficult play that's super hard to execute. Note the Ryze in the top lane. This is a forced Baron by Team Liquid because they cannot deal with the Ryze with anyone. So the fact that Pobelter gets in onto Cody Sun to get that Azir knocked backwards, and the fact that they actually narrowly win this fight even still, kept them in the game for a longer period of time.
It needs to be, understood how difficult this is to do. It's not hard to reach that conclusion. Like 1-3-1, we can't hold anyone anymore. Brute force the Baron. But to actually execute on it is super, super impressive. They're able to go back. They get this Baron buff down, use that recall. They have to give up the Nexus turret to do so. But that is a worthy trade, because the Nexus turret doesn't come into play for another 20 minutes into this game after that. So you can see how good decision out of Team Liquid. Almost come back into the game, but they just really had no way to deal with the map pressure.
To your point, though, Jad, this is because of those improvements in just a week's time for 100 Thieves in their ability to play that 1-3-1. The Team Liquid's even forced into that decision. If this was last week's 100 Thieves, maybe they don't have to make that call.
Yeah, this is probably the best Ryu has looked in a year. He dominated that game on Ryze. I believe his scoreline at the end was like 1-0-2 or something. He was 0-0-2 for most of the game, but Azir couldn't deal with him. Vladimir couldn't deal with him. It got to a point where Doublelift was trying to answer split push.
We saw Impact going down there to try and 2v1 at times, and every single time, Zhonya's ult out from Ryze, just the impossibility of securing that first kill for Team Liquid caught up with him.
We were yelling at Ryze the champion for that interaction existing. Be like, coward, in 3 weeks you won't be able to do that.
That's true,
But he can. He can do that now, and he made the most use of that in this game.
All right, now I want to zoom out for a moment. We've got 2 3-0 teams remaining in the league, one of which is 100 Thieves, the other one being Echo Fox. I don't think anyone prior to week 1 would have put those 2 teams at the top of the table just 3 games into the season, and yet there they are. I just want to talk about the landscape of the NALCS and get kind of your initial thoughts based on the standings through 3 games.
Wow. I think that's my initial reaction, just because 41 players end up on new teams. Only 9 remain, so you know it's going to be a volatile season. It's going to be very hard to predict. And I still thought there would have been a little bit more consistency out of the old orgs staying at the top.
And I don't think it will be long until everyone has a loss. Right? We've lost 8 of the undefeated teams 3 games in. Like, everyone is beating everyone else, which is really cool. And when we're talking about contenders, so to speak, before the season, I heard 6 different teams have players say they're going to win the split. So there are a lot of teams shooting high, And those teams are the ones taking games off of each other. Huni said they were going to win the split. aphromoo said they're going to win the split. So for them, they're not surprised that they're 3-0.
That's a good
But
point.
there's a lot of teams shooting for that.
Yeah, those 3-0 teams are not dominant either. The C9 game could have gone either way. This game could have gone either way. So like Jet said, there's going to be a lot more contenders this split than usually.
Fair enough. Looking ahead to the final match, we've got Golden Guardians versus FlyQuest. You can catch that game here and on Riot Games 2, where Huni, Sneaky, and Freak will be casting from the NALCS Lounge. Now, though, we're sending it over to Avli May for a game preview with the Golden Guardians coach.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with Lokodoko, the coach of Golden Guardians. You guys had a little bit of a rough week last week. Looking back, were you able to identify any of those shortcomings?
So, yeah, I mean, our game versus Clutch Gaming, the draft was kind of rough, and our game versus Cloud9, our end game was kind of rough, and we really tackled that in practice this week. Although some of our players were sick, some of the opponent players were sick, so we didn't get in as much scrims as we wanted to. I think we handled our problems pretty well.
Now, can you tell me a little bit about the strengths of Golden Guardians, both players and coming together as a team?
We're really good at three-pointers. So we have an all-NA roster, so we gel together really well. There's no language barriers, and everyone has a very team-first mindset. So I think we have the best teamwork, and we're improving extremely quickly. It's just a lot of the other teams have such veteran players and beefed-up rosters. Even though we're improving quicker than they are, it's really hard to catch up.
Now, the overall kind of look at Golden Guardians when the team was first announced is Hai is going to shot call everyone to victory. But when we see these games, who specifically is Hai trying to shot call as the carry? Who's going to be the carry for this team?
So, I don't think there's really one carry we rely on. We try to do things together as a team, and high shot calling does play a lot into that. It's when you get into late game, it's not so much about one person carrying everything, but teams being on the same page and executing on endgame win conditions together, like Baron or split push or seizing inhibs.
Now, we are only at week 2, but can you tell me, what would week 9 Golden Guardians look like? Top of their strength, everything's going good.
Well, hopefully we'd be very cohesive and we'd work well together as a team. I don't think we'll have suddenly the most talented players in all the leagues, but I mean, yeah, I think that's what I would expect. The most disciplined, most teamwork focused, most well-executed and well-prepped team.
Perfect. Well, Loco, thank you so much for this interview. And for everyone else, be sure to stick around. Don't go anywhere, because right after this break, we are going to see Golden Guardians take on FlyQuest.